Lyra had always been the smallest figure in any hall of her homeworld Orionis, and the elders often said she looked like a single gust of wind could lift her from the ground and blow her into the silver dunes beyond the city walls. Her species was known for delicate frames and gentle manner, and Lyra was considered delicate even among them. Yet behind her quiet gaze there lived a question she could never silence. Could someone like her ever stand strong in a galaxy where strength shaped destiny? This question grew heavier after the skirmish near her village, when strange raiders arrived and circled the settlement like swooping metal birds. Her people survived only because a human patrol was nearby, and among them was Aaron, a soldier whose presence radiated calm focus. Something about the way he moved made Lyra wonder if strength was a thing someone could learn, rather than be born with. The raid ended in minutes, but its memory burned far longer. Lyra watched Aaron as he helped rebuild damaged structures, lifting beams with quiet efficiency. He moved as if every action had a purpose. When he noticed Lyra studying him, he offered a gentle nod before returning to his work. Lyra felt a spark inside. Maybe she could learn what he embodied. A week later she approached Aaron while he checked equipment near the patrol landing site. She walked with careful steps, almost drifting, her voice soft as dust, when she asked if he could train her. Aaron blinked in surprise, but did not laugh or dismiss her. Instead, he asked her why she sought something so demanding. Lyra answered with plain honesty. She did not want to feel helpless again. Aaron saw resolve behind her fragile form, a quiet courage that deserved a chance. And he agreed to teach her Dot. Their first training session took place near the outskirts of her village, where the sand formed gentle slopes. Aaron explained that training began with understanding one's own limits. He asked her to run from one dune to another. Lyra tried and stumbled halfway, legs shaking, lungs burning. She dropped to her knees, embarrassed, expecting Aaron to shake his head. Instead, he sat beside her and told her that strength was built through patience, discipline, and small victories. His calm tone soothed her frustration. Lyra stood again and tried once more. She reached the other dune with trembling legs, but she reached it standing. Aaron nodded with quiet approval. Something inside Lyra brightened. Days turned to weeks, and the village often saw an unusual pair practicing near the dunes. The tall human soldier and the fragile alien girl moved through drills at dawn when the desert sky glowed pale blue. Aaron taught her breathing techniques first, insisting that the body listen to the breath. Once she learned to steady her breathing, he introduced basic stances to anchor her center of gravity. At first she fell easily, often landing softly in the sand, but each time she stood again with growing determination. Children watched from afar with wide eyes as Lyra moved slowly, learning balance with concentration, so intense it reshaped her expression. The elders murmured that she was following a strange path, yet no one tried to stop her. Some even admired the stubborn spark that refused to fade. Aaron soon learned that teaching her required creativity. Her frame lacked the natural strength humans relied on, but she possessed agility unmatched by any soldier he had trained before. He designed movements that used her swiftness, fluidity, and awareness. They practiced footwork that let her shift direction like wind slipping around stone. They built reflex drills where she tapped targets faster than Aaron expected, even for experienced recruits. Her body began adjusting. Her muscles strengthened. Her eyes sharpened. Aaron watched her progress with growing respect. She had begun the journey as a fragile shadow, but every day she stepped closer to becoming someone entirely new. There were moments of discouragement. One evening, after a harsh session with weighted cuffs, Lyra collapsed in frustration and confessed she felt she would never be strong enough. Aaron sat beside her and reminded her of the day she ran between the dunes. She had been weaker then, yet she had reached the other side. Strength was not measured by what she could lift, but by how far she had come from the point she started. Lyra absorbed his words like water, sinking into dry earth. She stood and resumed her practice with new resolve. That night she promised herself she would not give up again. As months passed, Lyra's transformation became impossible to ignore. Her once delicate steps carried the clean precision of a trained fighter. Her arms no longer shook when she lifted equipment. Her gaze held focus so steady it seemed carved from stone. Villagers whispered with awe when she sparred with Eren near the dunes, moving so fast her silhouette blurred. Yet she never grew arrogant. She remained gentle in her speech and respectful to everyone. Her people realized she had not abandoned who she was. She had expanded who she could be. Eren also changed through the year. Training Lyra reminded him of the purpose he had almost forgotten after years of conflict. Watching her rediscover strength made him rediscover hope. Whenever she mastered a new technique, he celebrated her progress quietly, but she could feel his pride in the way he adjusted her form or offered her new challenges. Their bond was built not on power but on shared effort. They trained side by side under countless sunrises until the day came when Eren received orders from command. His patrol had to leave Orionis for another sector. The departure was scheduled at dawn. When Lyra heard the news, her chest tightened. She walked to the landing site, where the patrol prepared for departure. Eren stood near the ramp, adjusting his gear. When he turned to her, he saw more than the girl he had first met. He saw a fighter shaped by perseverance. Lyra bowed her head with gratitude. She thanked him for giving her strength she once believed impossible. Eren told her that the strength had always been within her. He had only helped her find it. He gave her a final piece of advice. A true fighter trains not to conquer others, but to protect and uplift. Lyra promised she would honor that. She watched the ship lift into the sky, leaving a swirl of dust in its wake. The months that followed were quiet until the day a distress signal reached the village. Raiders had returned, larger in number and more aggressive than before. Their ships descended like steel predators, scattering sand as they surrounded the settlement. Panic spread as the villagers gathered, but standing among them was someone they had never truly seen before. Lyra stepped forward with steady breath and calm gaze. The wind caught her cloak or revealed the firm stance beneath it. She carried no heavy weapons, only the skill refined through a year of relentless training. The raiders approached with confident strides, expecting an easy conquest. Lyra walked to meet them. Her people watched in shock as she moved with fluid speed, slipping through the attackers like a streak of silver. Using momentum rather than force, she redirected strikes, swept legs, and dodged blades with impossible grace. Every movement reflected Eren's lessons shaped to her own nature. The raiders grew frustrated as they failed to land a single hit. Lyra remained composed, guiding the battle like a dancer guiding motion. The villagers began to rally behind her courage, pushing back with renewed spirit. News of the clash spread, and those raiders not subdued by Lyra fled to their ships. The settlement erupted in relieved cheers. Lyra stood catching her breath, but she did not collapse as she once would have. The elders approached her with gratitude and astonishment. They had witnessed the frail girl become a protector strong enough to hold back entire squadrons. Lyra bowed to them respectfully. She understood that the path of a fighter had only begun, and that responsibility was now her companion. She spent the next weeks teaching others the basics of what Eren had taught her, building new resilience within her people. A full year after Eren's departure, a human shuttle returned to Orionis. Eren stepped out expecting to see the quiet village he remembered. Instead, he heard villagers whisper excitedly. They guided him toward the dunes where someone waited. Lyra stood at the top of a ridge, wind brushing her cloak as she looked down at him. Eren stared in disbelief. She was transformed. Her stance radiated confidence. Her movements held the sharp precision of a master in training. Her presence alone commanded attention. She descended the ridge with a steady stride and greeted him with calm warmth. Aaron asked about the village and the raid. Lyra recounted the battle with humility, crediting him for laying the foundation that allowed her to protect her people. Aaron shook his head and told her that she had surpassed every expectation. Lyra then extended a hand and asked for a spar. She wanted to show him how far she had come. Aaron accepted with a smile. They moved to the open sand where they had trained a year before. The sun cast long shadows as they stepped into stance. When they began, Aaron realized immediately that he was no longer teaching. He was confronting a fighter forged through perseverance and heart. Their spar flowed with energy and precision. Lyra moved with balanced grace and swift accuracy, forcing Aaron to adjust his own rhythm. She landed several clean touches. Each one made him grin with pride. When the spar ended, they both stood breathing heavily, but there was no doubt about the outcome. Lyra had become a fighter in her own right. Villagers cheered from afar as Lyra bowed respectfully to her former teacher. Aaron returned the bow with genuine admiration. He had not created her strength. She had built it herself. As the sun set behind the dunes, Lyra and Aaron climbed the ridge.